Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how to do this kind of VFX using Adobe After Effects and Blender. We need a footage for this. So I'm going to go ahead and import the footage, and I will put the link to the same footage in the description down below. So you can also use the same and follow the tutorial. Let's import this into a new composition and click tracker and click track camera, and it will start tracking. But before it starts, let's click detailed analysis also to perfectly track the motion, and let's wait for this to happen. So it's going to take some time, but believe me, it's gonna be good. Okay, so now it's done. If you look at these, we got something like that, and I think that's perfect. This is what we wanted. Now let's select some of the trackers by just dragging around, right click, create solid in camera. Let's select another one also, create solid. Let's select some more of them. We're just trying to make a shape of the museum of the future, because I think that's important. Like, if I create so many solid in different area of the museum, we will be able to define the shape of the museum. Okay, so it's going to be very easier for us. And if I go ahead and select this one, create solid, and again that one, right click, create solid, it will help us in making 3D scene in Blender. If you play it, as you can see, all those planes are sticking into their exact position, and this is what we wanted. So let's go ahead and see, and I think that's fine. Now let's add some more of them. I'm gonna go ahead and select this area, right click, create solid. I think it's not perfect, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control Z to not confirm it. I'm gonna go ahead, I think that one, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and select all of those, right click, create solid. So I think now we have enough solid here. I'm gonna right click, create solid. Now it's time to select everything in the timeline and export this data into Blender. So I'm going to go ahead, select this one and that one to select everything. I'm going to go ahead into File, go ahead into Scripts, and I'm going to click Export Composition Data to JSON. It's actually a script. I will put the link to the same script file in the description. You just need to install the script, and you will be also getting the same option. And if you click it, you will be able to export this data in JSON format. So I'm going to click it. And if we go ahead and click browse to select a location where to save it. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one, and let's name it track, and I'm going to go ahead and click save the file and click export to export this data out of After Effects. So now it's time to import this data into Blender. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Blender. Well, to import this data into Blender, we also need add-on for these to work. So I'm also going to put a link to the add-on in the description down below, so you can just go ahead and install the add-on in Blender, and you will be able to import a JSON file into Blender. And let's go ahead and open up Blender, and let's see what we can do with it. Now Blender is open. Now it's time to delete everything in the viewports by hitting A, X, and delete. If you go into output, we can go into frame rate. Let's change it to 30 frames per second and set the X into 720 pixel and Y into 1280 pixel. So now if you go into file, if you go into import and click After Effects composition data, it's actually an add-on. So you will also get the same option by installing the add-on in the description of this video. So I'm going to click it and locate the file that we exported from After Effects. If you import this, we will see a bunch of plans. Let's select the front one and delete it, and leave the other plan because it's going to help us. So if we go into camera view, as you can see, everything looks like that. Now let's go ahead and click, let's expand the timeline. Click A, select everything. If you look at these, the keyframe is off, so let's just click G and move it a bit forward to first frame. Okay, so if you go ahead and select the camera, click background image and click add image. If you click movie clip and open, let's go ahead and open up our footage. And now the footage is opened up. As you can see, it's perfectly sticking in there, and this is what we wanted. Okay, select the footage and let's increase the opacity level just a tad. So for moving forward, we need a 3D model, and I found one of the model of the Field Museum on sketchweb.com, and I will put the link to you as well in the description, so you can also use the same model. And it's done by this great artist, and it's totally free. So thanks for the model, and you just go ahead and download the OBJ format, because I think that's the best one. So let's go ahead and import this model into Blender. First, let's save our file and go into File, Import, and click OBJ, or you can say wavefront.obj. And let's go ahead into the, okay,
So I downloaded the model, but I think it's not extracted. So I'm going to go ahead and to the source. It's right here. I'm going to right click and extract here. So I got the model here, and those are the textures. And this is the model. So let me just go ahead and going to file, import, and click OBJ, source, model, and here we go. Import, reference, OBJ format. Okay. So right now it's imported. I'm going to go into camera view and I will work on this other window here. Okay. So first of all, you can see the origin is not correct. So I'm going to right click, set the origin, and let's set this to, um, you can say to center of the mouse right now. And I'm going to click Alt R to reset the rotation of this model. Maybe I can go into Y-axis and try to fix the rotation in the beginning. And okay, maybe I will try to align it like that. Yeah, that's fine. Now hit Control A and apply all transform and right click set origin to center of a mouse. Okay, so and now what we're going to do, we are gonna, I'm gonna turn this on. So what we're going to do, we are gonna set this model in here. But right now it's very small, so I'm gonna go ahead and make it bigger. I'm gonna see it in camera view, but I'm gonna make this view a little bit bigger so I can see what is going on. I'm gonna go into top axis and I'm gonna move it toward that direction. I'm gonna rotate it an X 90 degree and I'm gonna change the orientation to local. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and scale it up. I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna go into wireframe mode. I'm gonna try to align it. I'm also gonna go into wireframe so I can see what is going on. Maybe I can rotate it just a tad and I think I need to scale it up just a bit and I'm gonna move it here. Okay, I'm gonna go into solid view here so I can see. Okay, so I think I need to rotate it like that. And maybe I can just go ahead and move it. Just try to align it with those planes because they are perfectly aligned already. So I'm gonna go ahead and slightly move it backward. Maybe I can slightly, and I'm just trying to find a best position to perfectly align it with the footage. And if I go into wireframe, I can slightly move it down also, slightly move in the direction. And okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into edit, solid view, and I'm going to change it to vertex selection. I'm going to select this one and shift S cursor to select it. So the cursor snap into there. And in object mode, I'm going to right click and set the origin to 3D cursor. So now the origin is here. We can scale from this point. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it on X axis. Maybe I can scale it on Y axis just a tad, not so much. Maybe I can move it and maybe I can scale it on Z. Not Z, I think Y, because we are in local. Okay, maybe I can slightly rotate it and maybe slightly scale it up. It's a bit hard to find the best area, but after working a little bit on it, you will find that the model was perfectly aligned with the background geometry. And yeah, you scale it up just a tad, and I'm just trying to find the best area to align it. Okay, so I think this is not aligned yet. If you scrub through, okay, so it's not aligned. I'm going to move it towards that direction. Maybe I can slightly rotate it on this axis just a bit, and maybe we can. Okay, so I think we're getting the look here. Slightly scale it down. Maybe we can scale it a bit on y-axis. Okay. Just a tad, just while a little bit. Less slightly, I think will be better on y-axis. Okay, so let's see. And yeah, I think that looks good. Now we have problem here, and that's inning, but I think we don't really need it. We are still going to mask it out, but I'm just trying to find a best area. Okay, so let's make it a bit smaller. And if you go into material, we can't see anything. Okay, so I added all those solid into a collection, so I can turn these off, so you can't really see it. And I'm gonna select these objects, and I'm gonna go into material. I'm gonna go ahead into shader editor and click and to close these other window. I'm gonna click Shift T and add into its texture, model texture, and it's here. I'm gonna select all of them and it will add all those texture into my model. And that's good. I liked it. Okay. So now if we just go, okay, if I just, I don't know, it will be, I don't understand will it be good or not, but I believe that it will be good. And yeah, let's go ahead for it. Right click, share auto smooth, so it get a little bit smoother because it was very sharp. Okay, so let's go into 3D viewport on this other side and into orthographic view. Okay, so in edit mode, I'm going to go into wireframe and I'm going to go into face selection mode. I don't know which part we're going to select. I think I'm going solid. Uh, I'm just finding a best location to move off and make some cool looking effect. And I think I find it because I just wanted it from here to maybe here and maybe somewhere right here and right here. If I go into wireframe, I'm just going to click C and I'm going to select all of those parts. Let's make the circle a little bit smaller. Okay, so if you go into solid and go into the other side, we're going to select it manually. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah, that's looking good. And I think, uh, yeah, I think that's fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit P and click selection. So we separate this area. Right now, it is taken to that. Oh, okay. Proportion editing is turned on, turn this off, and you will be able to move it separately. And okay, so I'm going to go and hide this. And let's make the interior of it. So I'm going to go ahead into edit mode. And I'm going to go ahead into edge selection mode. And I'm going to select all the edges around. I think not that one, but select this edge and hit control and select up to that area. And then control and left click and control left click somewhere right here. And click F to fill in the area. And I'm also going to do it for this one. I'm going to select the whole area here and this one also. And I think that one also in click F to fill it in. And if you turn this on, that's good. And that's looking fucking good. Okay, sorry. Okay. So now we need some stuff to come around. But before we animate other stuff, we need, you can say, we need other models. So I'm going to go ahead into Sketchfab again. And I'm going to search for some sci-fi airport sort of thing. I'm just trying to get a random sort of sci-fi thing here. I'm gonna turn off the airport. I'm just gonna search for science fictions and I'm gonna find a model that I think will be good here. And I'm gonna go ahead find one model, and let's see what we can do here. So I'm just trying to find a best model here because I think it would be good if you have good models. Uh, I don't know what I'm supposed to select here. Maybe, I think I found that. I found it. Okay. I'm going to bookmark this and I will put the link in the description for the same model. I'm going to download it and I'm going to select FBX. But I think if I select GLB, I'll have all the texture back into it and will not have to re-add texture. So I'm going to go ahead and click the 1K version because it's going to be a very far away shot. So we don't really see any detail in that. So I'm just going to go ahead and download the 1K texture one, the GLB format, and it's not a good format, but for quick stuff like that, it's good, and you can just try it out yourself. Okay, so now it's downloading here. Maybe I can find some other model. I'm gonna search for Ornithopter. Ornithopter. Yeah, let's search. Yeah, find it. But yeah, it's free, I think. Okay, we got so many Ornithopter here. But what if he had an animated version of Ornithopter? Because I think if it is animated, it's gonna look really good. But what I'm going to do, I'm gonna click one of it and let's see if it says info not rigged. And I don't know if I can find an animated version of it, but let me just go back and try to find a model that is rig. Ornithopter rig. I hope we find one. Yeah, it's rigged here and it's free. I love it. I love every second of it. As you can see, it says rig geometry. So let's download this model. Let's see what's the detail in here. I think that's the coolest one. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and download it, and I'm gonna go ahead and download the FBX, which is the original version, which will contain all the rig data, and it's downloaded. Let's import it into Blender and let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so we are back in Blender and let's import those models. I'm going to go into File, Import, and the first one is the Ornithopter model. So I'm going to go ahead and it's here. It's in Source and it's FBX. So I'm going to click Import FBX file and it's going to import it with all the rigs. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it a little bit up. I'm going to move it towards that direction. And yeah, the scale is off because it was dragged in After Effects and I didn't want you to fix the scale because the tutorial will be long. So I'm just gonna go with a normal tutorial, not a very fancy one, but I think I'm gonna go into pause mode and turn on the fed geometry overlay here so we can see what is going on. So now let's try something. Okay, where is the okay? So it's here, but how do they animate this? I don't know. Uh, how does the ornithopter looks like? So I'm gonna go into YouTube. I didn't start Dune, but I just heard about it. But let's see. I also watched a tutorial about the big boy. I think something like that. Ornithop. What is its name? I just forgot it. Or Ornithopter. Ornithopter right here. And let's see what we can see. Okay, so here Ornithopter setup. Let's see how's the animation looks. Also make the same sort of animation. So, okay, that's like that. Okay. And how it looks like. Please animate it, bro. Okay, so actually it's animating it, but they are animated the wrong way, like the downward moving up and the upward moving down at the same time. So this is how it looks like. So let's do it right away. So right now it's a bit hard to work with it, but I'm gonna go into object. I'm gonna select the whole hierarchy and click slash to go into its local view so we can perfectly move around and it will hide everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go into pause mode and I'm going to select um what it calls. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click R. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna move it down here. I'm gonna move it up here. I'm going to move it up and select these two down. So I'm going to go ahead and click, select all of them that you want to add animation into because I don't want to have keyframe for all the bones. Um, So, okay, so click I and add keyframe into it, and let's go forward. It's complete its cycle in just 10 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and select these two and click R, X, Z. Let's rotate it in that direction. Down there, yeah. And also this one, move it up so they get close to one another, and select both of them and click I again. And also select those. I think this one. Yeah, that one. Click I on that. Let's select those one. Click I. So now if you select everything and just go ahead, Shift D. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to click Shift A, and I think it's cyclic. Yeah, make cyclics. So what it, oh, okay. Control Z. So what we need to do, we need to duplicate this one, Shift D, and duplicate it to somewhere into the frame number 20. So it completes the cycle. Okay. And select every keyframe and Shift A, make cyclic. So now as you can see, now it's a cycle. And now you can, the best part is you can just scale it down by hitting S, and you can make it fast. I need a little bit faster because they're moving extremely fast. So uh, yeah, yeah, we just software animation, but it's very simple. I don't really care about it. I just care about the animation. So I'm going to camera view. I think it's very small, so I'm going to go ahead and scale it big a little bit. So perfectly sitting on this. So I'm slightly going to rotate it because it's a bit rotated. So I'm going to go ahead so I can perfectly sit these Ornithopter on that one. So let's move it up here. Somewhere right there. Let's see Ornithopter landing, something like that. Ornithopter landing, like I don't know how they land and how their wings stop. So I just want to see how did it looks like. And okay, here we go. We find the model. We find the video actually, and let's see what we get here. Okay, so it's normal takeoff and normal movement, so it doesn't really fancy, nothing's fancy. I'm going to click I to add a keyframe into the Ornithopter and scrub through. And the Ornithopter reaches here, so I'm going to go and grab it. It first moves really fast up to here, and a little bit rotate it I. And let's move it a little bit backward in 2 seconds, but maybe in three, something like that. But it gets slower after that because it's going to land. And let's move it slightly to that direction, slightly move it down, and click I. And let's land him on that area. Maybe slightly up because we're going to add something into here. And click I. And on that one, I'm going to rotate it just a bit. Click I, and yeah. Okay, so in edit mode, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select that side. Actually, that one, and turn on proportion editing and slightly move it up. Maybe up to here. Okay, so it's not moving up because we don't have any. Okay, so just leave it. We can fix it later on, but right now, focusing on Ornithopter. I think that looks good. That looks fine, okay? So, first of all, let's animate this thing because we also got this mesh here. So, what it does is actually moves up, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I got it. What I want to make. So I'm going to go ahead and scrub through So I think the frame number 10 is good. So I'm going to click I here and I'm going to move it up just a tad. Click I and let's move it toward that direction. A little bit up and a little bit forward, a little bit to that direction and click I. So on that keyframe, I'm going to rotate it on X-axis because I think the rotation is off a little bit. And click I. And on that keyframe also just a tad because I think it's a bit off. And click I. And if we go forward, we also can actually move it a little bit up. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think I need. Yeah, I. So I think it's just straightforward going up. Click I and I think this moving up animation doesn't look really good, so I'm gonna delete it. Yeah, the Ornithopter sits there and yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I think I need to refine. Okay, the final keyframe doesn't look what if we uh I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I'm just randomly animating stuff. Yeah, for now I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. So I also downloaded another GLB format. I'm gonna go into import and import a GLB file, sci-fi crate, and let's import this model. It's contains some sort of you can say empties. So I'm gonna go ahead and select one of it and hit Control J to join the whole model and Alt P to separate it from the empties. I'm gonna right click, select hierarchy and click X and delete. I'm going to select this object and I'm going to scale it up like that. Shift A selection to cursor so it snap the list to that area. And I'm going to slide move the X-axis and maybe slightly up like that. I'm going to go into material view so I can see what is going on. Okay, so it's now loaded and I'm going to move it up like that. So let's scale it on Y-axis and rotate it on Y-axis. Something like this. And if you go into material preview of it and move it towards that direction and scale it a little bit on y-axis, maybe we can rotate it on z, but just a bit, and maybe scale it on y again. I just want to see the emission there. I'm going to increase the emission here so we can really see it. And for the emission, I'm going to remove the default image and I'm also going to remove it. And I'm going to set the color to be, oh, Control Z. Actually, let's leave the image there. And okay. So select the Ornithopter. I think it's setting on the wrong place. And let's move forward, scrub through the timeline. See, it's perfectly land on that area. Let's slightly move it down there, and click I, and let's move forward and just slightly move it to the direction and click R, move it a little bit down, move it a little bit backward, and move it slightly forward, and select it and click I. So now the Ornithopter comes and sits down here. Yeah, that's what we wanted. Okay, cool. Control S and save the file. And if you go into camera view, this is how it looks like. So in the beginning, it's a little bit clipping here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a keyframe here and maybe here. Yeah, just slightly move it to the direction and click I. So when it goes up, it actually doesn't really interfere with it. I'm going to animate it too. I'm slightly going to move this keyframe there. I'm not really talking about everything because I think I have to think a lot to do something. So I'm just doing it right away. Okay. So if you look at this area, it doesn't look really good. And it looks, okay, so I'm going to edit and select, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click edit mode. Select this face, create a new material, assign new. Let's make it black and make the roughness all the way up. So we see something black there and Control S and save the file. Okay, so this is what we got here. The Ornithopter sit down and yeah. Okay, that's looking good. I love it. So there is some stuff that I want to clear about. Like you might be confusing. Well, that's interfering in the foreground. Like the bridge is like the museum is on the other side of the bridge, but it's showing on the other side. Well, this is not over. Like it's just the beginning of it. So while compositing it, I will rotoscope the bridge here, and it will be in foreground. But what about the background sort of museum? What will you do with it? Well, I'm going to think about it because I think there is a lot to do. Because, for example, if you look here, I will have to mask out this area, then moves on until it reaches here. And there's a building in the background. I also have to keep up with that. And yeah, there is so much work to do, but I think I can. So let's not worry about the future and let's just stick up with the right now. And I think that's looking good. So Control S and save the file. Okay, so what is next? Next, we're going to match up the lighting. So I'm going to go ahead into I'm going to go into solid here. And in this viewport, I'm going to go into render. We can't really see anything because it's just everything is black. So I'm going to go into rendering and I'm going to change the cycle, GPU compute, and under film, I'm going to turn on transparent. I'm going to go into world setting. I'm going to click the color and environment color. So let's go ahead and click open. And let's open up an assets. I'm going to go into asset. I have an HDRI. I will just try different HDRIs. Once I finalize the best one, I will also give it to you. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to turn this on. Okay. So this HDRI is good, but in fact, it's facing from the wrong direction. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up to camera view and into rendering. Oh, I think I can't open renderer on both the windows. I'm going to change it to shader editor. Okay, I think I missed. Okay. I'm going to change these to world and here we go. It's the HDRI. Let's click Control T and add mapping and texturing coordinate node. And on the Z rotation, I'm going to set it to maybe 180. So now, as you can see, now we got a little bit better with it. For example, if we turn off both of the model, as you can see, it's just making some sort of look here. But in fact, the background is a little bit bluish and the foreground is a little bit yellowish. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click Shift A and I'm going to add a hue saturation node. And I'm going to decrease, maybe increase, I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add mix color node. And let's mix it with a little bit of a yellowish tint. So the colors match together. And maybe I can grab out this one and set this color to be like that. And now, like magically, they both matches together. And if you go into the first frame and turn on the other model, they just look the same. And I think that's a good sign because I think a good lighting is everything and it's make everything look real. So maybe I can just slightly rotate the HDRI a bit. And if I go into material and I just go and turn on scene world and scene lighting, why I can't see my, I don't know, but I will do it in render. I'm going to go into render settings and I'm going to turn off transparent. I'm going to go into camera. So as you can see now, the HDRI is turned on, but the sun is facing from that direction. So I'm going to slightly rotate that one to here. So now if we have a look at the other one, it's a little bit up. So I'm going to rotate these a little bit to somewhere right there. So the lighting does match. Yeah, it now really matches. If you turn this off, okay. So I think we need to move it a little bit upwards. So let's just do it. I think that's fine. Let's turn on. Okay. So now, as you can see, now it's perfectly matching the lighting with the sun. And this is what we wanted all the time. So yeah, the lighting is okay. And if we look at the animation, the Ornithopter comes in and that's looking good. If we scrub through, he sit down there and chill. Okay. Yeah. I think we're totally done with Blender. Like all the stuff is okay. Now like there's some stuff that we have to mask out and to bring it into foreground, but in fact we can just go ahead into After Effects and fix all the stuff that we can't do in Blender and see. So I changed the animation because I didn't like it, but it's not really complex that I changed. What I did, I separated this part using the same method by selecting this area and hitting P, and I separated it. And then what I did, I just animated it like that. It's like first keyframe is like that, and the second one is moving up, and the third one is going back. So this is how I made it. And for this part, I added some keyframes, which just simply like that. It's just a very simple moment. It's not really complex. And I think anyone can do it, so I'm not gonna say everything about it. And this is how it looks like, okay? So maybe I could change a little bit of a little bit rotation for the Ornithopter. So I just want to have a little bit of movement there. Okay, so in the first keyframe, I maybe just slightly rotate to the direction and hit I. When it moves, it's a little bit rotates, and I think that looks good. And it stops there and sits down, control it and save the file. So I think that is looking good, and now it's time to composite it. So we don't really need any compositing, we just need a simple render settings. First of all, let's go into rendering. We're going to change to GPU compute. We're going to set the render sample size to 81 and go scroll down and click transparent. And in output, we're going to set this to PNG and set a location for it. I set this to PNG from Blender and something like that. And I set this to RGBA. And what you can do, you just have to go ahead and click render and render the animation. I'm going to pause the video. Once I render the animation, I will tell you how to remove this background part. For example, if I just hide this, now you can see the background, what it calls, I don't know. It says Museum of the Future. Yeah, I just forgot the name. Okay. So I want to remove that part of that museum, okay? Because I just want to have that part. When it opens, it shows that part, and it is what I want. So we're gonna do it in After Effects, and if you look at this, it's not really hard to make because we can just see this area, and we will mask it out, and we will add a low background, something like that. Yeah, I think that's easy, and we can just do it. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead to rendering. I'm gonna pause the video and I will see you once the video gets rendered. So now the video, or you can say the sequence, is rendered. Now it's time to go into Adobe After Effects and fix some stuff and composite it and make it even better. So let's go ahead into Adobe After Effects and see what we can do with it. Let's just go ahead and click Adobe After Effects, and it have a bit of problem. Let's just go ahead and open it. It's gonna take some time to get open, and I have so many plugins installed, so that's why they're loading one by one. I don't know. I like Red Giant one and Revision and all of those plugins that have a huge amount of effects. Okay, so let's go ahead and click a new project. Okay, so now the new file has been created for After Effects. Now, before starting out, I will let you know that there are so many ways to remove the background. Let me just import the video and I will show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna go ahead to File, and this is the, okay. So let's import that one, and let's go ahead and import the image sequence. I'm gonna select one image and click PNG sequence and click import. Okay, so we got it, and now let's import the PNG sequence to the top. Okay, so what I mean by that, let's play it. If you look at the background footage, this one, you can still see the first building, you can see the first museum in the background. Now the question is how to remove it and change it into a sky. Well, for these, there are so many methods that we can use, which are really good. Uh, for example, I can use content aware fill from After Effects. I can use a removal tool from Mockup Pro. I can literally paint out this area. But I think I'm gonna use a way that I don't think it's professional, but in my case, it's going to work. So I really don't really need to worry about it because I think it's easy. So I'll just do it. And in this video, we're going to also talk about how to deal with these foreground objects. For example, this bridge. I want to mask it out and make it into the front. And I will also talk about how to, like this one, how to bring these into foreground and make it more real and believable. And we're gonna go through all of them and we'll finalize the video, and we will also change the color of the CGI object because the black well level isn't correct, and also we're gonna add a little bit of haze into it. So okay, let's get started with it. So first of all, let's find a frame. I think this one. Let's just, yeah, that one, and select the background layer. I'm gonna go into edit, click split layer, and it's gonna split the layer. So now let's select the second layer here, and I'm gonna zoom in, and let's create a new mask around this area. I'm gonna go ahead and create a mask around it. It's not going to be really sticking into it, but it's going to be like a very rough sort of mask. So now everything is disappeared. I'm gonna click M and I'm gonna change this area into, you can say, inverted. And as you can see now that that's black. So before we start masking it out, let's create a new layer. It's going to be a solid, and let's create a solid, and let's grab this eyedropper tool and select the sky around it and click OK. So now as you can see, it's filled, but it's not accurate. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to grab this down and I'm going to select the mask here, and I'm going to click these stopwatch icon to start animating the path. So I'm going to go ahead. Okay. So before start animating, I'm also going to increase the mask feather just a bit, and I think I need to move it a little bit, something like this. And let's select the mask path and move forward. So as you can see now it's expanded, and I think the mask is like really high. So I'm gonna decrease it a little bit, and let's change it again and do it for every frame. So now if you play it, as you can see, for this frame it's fine, but we move forward. It's again, let's just fix it again. Like when we move in the timeline, we can just move these around to perfectly Control Z. Let's change it to selection tool. You have to animate this frame by frame. It's a little bit tedious, but believe me, it's going to work. So we're not really caring about how hard it is. We're going to care about how we can achieve the best ever result. And let's move forward in the timeline and just change it with time and just make it a sky out of it. And let's just do it right away. Okay, so something like that, bro. I love that. So we disappear the footage and let's go ahead and click edit, split layer and delete it. And we're also going to, let me just make it a little bit bigger so we can accurately delete the layers. I'm also going to select the solid layer, edit, split layer and delete. Oh, I think I need to just a bit, okay. Now, as you can see, we have successfully removed the background. Now, it's not, if you look at from a far angle, we can't really see anything that's going bad. So I think that's fine. That's fine. That's totally 100% fine. So now it's time to change. We need to mask out the bridge here. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna collapse these and I'm re-adding these footage on top of everything. So I imported this video here and I will mask out the bridge. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So for these, I'm gonna take a pen tool here and I'm going to mask out that area. So I'm gonna select this point and that point, and I'm gonna go ahead and select this one and this one and that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and click M and click the stopwatch to start animating. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the selection tool and I'm gonna move this to here and I will move it towards here. So let's scrub through. Let's just slightly move it down. Just try to be a little bit accurate with that because it's a foreground object, so it must have its shape. And let's scrub through. Okay,
Okay, so after a lot of masking and trying to find the best area, I finally did masking and let's see how it turns out. So this is how it looks like. And I think that's fun. I think just need to mask off one object that I think is really bad and which is here. It's coming. Like it's foreground object, but it's always going to background. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to re-add another layer of this video on top of everything. And we're starting out with masking out. Yeah. So we don't really need to mask out the whole deal, but we just need to mask out from here to here. That's it. That's the whole body of it. So I'm going to click the mask tool and I'm going to go into the first frame and I'm going to click M. Okay, so it's not mask isn't created yet, but oh, Control Z. I will go to the same frame again and I'm gonna re-add the video again to here, and now it's time to start masking out. So I'm gonna go ahead and just create a mask around that area. Now it's going to be hard because the shape is a bit complex and we have to be accurate with it. Control Z, select this, and again start masking from that area. Zoom in and let's just mask out. Yeah, and click M and click this animated icon so we can animate it. And we scrub forward. We have to go into selection tool. I think if I change this to none, we will be able to see it. So I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to slightly move them. I will try to be accurate here because I think the distortion is changing. So Control Z. I'm gonna go ahead and select this one and move it just to that direction. And I'm also gonna move it also. And I'm going to move it a little bit. And yeah, now let's move a few frame and let's select everything again and move it. Okay, so we're gonna move these also and this one too. Let's crop through, select everything, and yeah, just follow the process. So this time the shape is a bit changed, so I'm gonna go ahead and also change it.
Okay. Yeah, right here. It is incorrect. So it's a bit tedious, but we have to do it because we can't do with any automatic process like Mocha Pro or any other approach because the motion is very fast and the quality isn't good. So that's why we will not be able to auto track. So I'm just doing it manually and finding out the best area to motion track. And yeah, it's called masking, and I think this is the most tedious process ever. We're gonna select everything and move it. Okay, so option masking for like uh long time. That's what we got here. But before we go ahead, we can change this from none to you can say add, and now what it does, it will be in front of everything. So let's see. This is how we wanted to make it. Okay, so there are all the stuff that you can change. You can mask them out. You can do it whatever you want to do. But right now, I'm gonna go ahead and make this thing a little bit
hazy, you know, it's like very contrast and the background isn't that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and search for the lumetri color and oh, sorry, I think I misspelled it. So lumetri color, and I'm gonna scroll down. Where is it? I'm just gonna this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and import the lumetri color into it. You can use any color matter, but I'm gonna go for a very basic one for you people. So first of all, what we're going to do, we're gonna decrease. Oh, I think I added into wrong footage. Sorry, delete it. I need to add it to the sequence actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this to a sequence, and I'm gonna play around with contrast. I'm gonna make it a little bit something like this. Let's make it a little bit bluish so it matches the color of the background and not so the contrast. And just want to have a little bit. And at the black levels is a bit off, so I'm gonna go ahead and increase it to match it with the. If you turn the go to creative, you can actually fade it out if you want. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it. If I increase the sharpness, it's gonna look very sharp. I'm just gonna give a little bit of sharpness into it, and yeah, I think I need to increase the black level a little bit. And I'm also gonna go ahead into temperature, and yeah, that's how it looks like. So I think it's a little bit, I think I'm gonna go for minus 50 and maybe minus 49 or something. I think we need to make the composition size a little bit down. So it's like 8 seconds and 9 frames. I'm gonna go into composition settings. I'm gonna change it to 8 seconds and 0.9 frame inch. And now we have that composition here. So this is how it looks like. So one thing I want to mask out is the trend. Actually, the trend is on the bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and re-add the video on top of everything. And as you can see, it's there. So I'm going to go ahead. And yeah, it's right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into edit, split layer, and delete the remaining one. I just want the small part of it to be here. And I'm going to get the masking tool and I'm going to mask out the trend area where it's on the Muesuem. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it. I'm going to click M and I'm going to turn on mask path animation button. I'm going to move a little bit forward in the timeline and I'm going to animate these. Okay, so right now it's fine. If you look at the trend, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And now you can add a little bit of sound into it to make it more real. So guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.